よし、じゃあ行きましょうか。The last one is Stone Story RPG by Martian Rex. それでは行きましょう。
Hello, everyone. My name's Gabriel Santos. I'm the creator of Stone Story RPG. It's my first time in Japan. I'm from California. Everyone's been really friendly and helpful. Thank you very much. Have you ever thought about stones and if they have any meaning? Probably not, unless you're a geologist. For this game, I've put some thought into that, and I've come to the conclusion that, to me, stones symbolize eternity. Stone Story takes you on a journey through a world of perpetual darkness to unite 9 magic soul stones and restore light to the world. The animation in this game is all done in ASCII art. So I use normal text symbols, I use plain text editor, and it's a very fun process. I really enjoy working on this project. And it looks very different. I think abstraction is very important in games. It allows the player to explore their imagination and think of the world in a way that is personal to them. And I think you see that a lot more, even in AAA games now, where details are removed, not only in texture or things like that, but also in animation, in setting, and simplifying things. I think we've bounced off the pursuit of photorealism, and now there is this demand for imagination in games. One moment. For this game, I use a design philosophy that I call narrative of mechanics. Let me explain for a moment how that works. So, RPG can be a very complex experience, especially for a player who isn't familiar with the genre. And what I've done with Stone Story is take each mechanic, even the leveling up and the gaining experience, and breaking those apart into separate systems, and you earn each one as you progress naturally through the game. There is the story of the dialogue between the players and the main story arc as it is normally understood, but much greater than that in Stone Story is this narrative of the game mechanics. It goes beyond the story in the written form. I think this allows everyone to enjoy the game. It makes it a more relaxed experience. The combat is very dynamic and employs familiar mechanics from strategy games or RPGs such as critical damage, buffs to debuffs, those sorts of things. But there's something very different about Stone Story, and that is that the main character is controlled by an artificial intelligence. And you see that a lot in mobile games because you don't have the access to the gamepad controls, so this is something that has become very popular. I wanted to take that back and combine it with the retro style, and really, by using this AI, build an entire game around this concept. And I'll get more into the automation and the AI in a second. I do enjoy action games as a player, but for this game I wanted to make a more relaxed experience that is focused on the strategy. When you take away the micro actions and repetitiveness that the player has to do, it allows the player to focus on the strategy. And in this game you have to decide which items you're going to take to which locations and really use your entire inventory and think a lot. You can swap items in the middle of combat, that's not a problem. And that's sometimes necessary. In this example fight right here against the Mine Walker, it uses the dodge mechanic strategically to avoid all the damage. That's not a necessary way, it's one way of playing, and it can get you further faster with lower gear, I guess. Crafting is a big area where players have a lot of decision making because you have to work with a limited set of resources. You can make potions and that have powerful effects, but the weapons are all this combination of two things. So you take two basic items, put them together, and that makes a more complex item. You can then take that more complex item and combine it with another one to make an even more complex item, and so on. It has a very big crafting tree, and as I continue to develop the game, I'm going to expand that crafting tree even more. As you might have noticed, the game is all very much black and white, but you will start to see some color as you progress through the game. And that has a very strong emotional impact. Once you get used to the black and white and you finally see something that's colorful, I can use that emotion to convey to the player that something is powerful or very important in the world. And this comes into play also in the higher difficulty levels. So right now, when you play the game, you can play through the entire story in the white difficulty, and many players will stop there. But if you really love the game and you want to keep playing, there's the cyan level of difficulty, unlocks 5 more levels of difficulty. You can keep playing. And right now, I am working on the big yellow updates. It's going to add 5 more yellow locations that will be harder and have new enemies, new mechanics that are introduced that should be coming out in a few weeks. Now, it is a single-player game, and a lot of people ask me, couldn't you add multiplayer mode? And I've thought about that. That's a big task. That's a big feature to work on. And then I realized it's not really a single-player game. This is a co-op experience because the game is complex enough, and nowadays everyone is so connected, and you're talking to other players online through, I don't know, Discord or Reddit or something like that, where it really is a cooperative experience. You are exchanging ideas or discoveries that you've made. Maybe you've discovered a new crafting item that maybe nobody has heard of, so you share that, or you're missing one of the crafting recipes, you can ask for help on that. And it really is designed around this idea that it's a cooperative experience. Which leads us to the automation part of the game. There is this central theme of automation throughout some of the lore, but also in the main character movement and combat. Then later in the game, the final magic stone you find is the Mind Stone, and it unlocks a scripting language that's inside the game. And with Stone Script, is what I call it, you can do a lot in the game. You can write, even if you're not a programmer, it's a very simple script language. You can get help on the forums or whatnot. And you can do something very basic like a script that just drinks the potion at the right time. And this is the interface for the Mind Stone. You can write a very simple script that just drinks the potion if your health gets low, so you don't have to click the button yourself. Or if you write a very advanced script, you can make your character do superhuman things, that is dodging and swapping items very quickly and doing these combos and stuff that is really amazing when some of the players create these scripts that exploit edges of the game that I hadn't planned, and like animation canceling and the attacks and things like that. It's very interesting and fun to see what the players are coming up with. And this is an example of where it gets a little silly. You can do a lot of user-generated content already, and this wasn't even planned as part of the design. So people have come up with mecha suits for the player, tanks, pets that follow you around, hats, and I am personally working on this fishing game using Stone Script that I hope to add to the game soon. So when players started doing this, I realized that I need to add more. I need to add more features to Stone Script to really allow people to go to the next level. And I think we're going to see something really incredible, such as entire games built inside of Stone Story, where maybe it's just a fishing mini game, or maybe it's a space shooting something, I don't know. That's the magic of it. Players will come up with some crazy stuff. And then you write that script and you share it with other players, and then players can modify your game and so on. It's very exciting. Stone Story RPG is available on Steam and will come to mobile and Switch next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gabriel. Please come here in the middle of the stage.
John, comment. I'm so glad that you mentioned the fact that we are getting out of this idea that every game needs to achieve realism. I think your visual aesthetic is just wonderful, and maybe it's because ASCII art was part of my life when I was younger, but I think it will draw a number of people that will discover this for the first time. My son specifically is working on a text-based game, and he's only 13 years old. So I think you totally have something there. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that I'm glad that you chose not to go with the multiplayer route, because you're already building a community for this game. So in a way, people are interacting with it and sharing their experiences. So you're creating already something that is multiplayer in a way. So thank you.
Yes.
It's a great game.
I agree. I think this was actually a surprise for me. When I was making the game in the beginning, I thought that maybe it would have a nostalgic appeal. It turns out young children really loved it. There was when I took it to PAX East for the first time, one thing that really cracked me up was this little girl and little boy that were playing together, and he was controlling the mouse and she was telling him what to do. It was very funny.
That's great.
Okay. Hi, thank you very much. ありがとうございまし
ありがとうございま
た
し。た。